Looking back here at the way in which the sprinters have become leaders and the number of days they've been actually in that leader's jersey. Freddie Martins, as you expect, looking back there, a man who could sprint and hold his jersey over those days. Then 6 days with Tossi and Poble, exactly the same. 4 days now for Pataki and the rest of them down there, and Patrick Circus. That really is by a roll call of specialist sprinters, and probably past Freddie at the top there, Freddie Martins. One of the great sprinters of the years gone by. He had a few bad happenings later in his life, and I well remember when he turned up to ride in one of the city centre races, I think part of the Kellogg series, which Alan Rutter was organising all those years gone by. They were great, weren't they? Manchester and Birmingham, Sheffield, you know, where Freddie came in the days when he was trying to get back in action. He'd gone through hell and high water, and the reception he got from the British public, and particularly the sporting cyclists, was phenomenal. Anyway, Freddie there held the leader's jersey as a sprinter for 6 days. We're talking there about sprinters, by the way, because those who've taken the leader's jersey longer than that are in great numbers. And whilst we're now getting back, I think, towards this thing being put back into an easy thing to watch, because I'm sure we're going to go in towards a sprint finish. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent here because Mr. Cipollini has not been yet able to beat the 41 or equal the 41 victories of Binder, and in fact Cipollini was very generous at the start of the Tour this year to say that he felt that he was not a grand champion of the likes of Binder, and we're not. Oh, isn't that lovely? Gosh, just imagine it. Oh dear. That wasn't a gin palace job, but I'm sure they're having something stronger than a nice bottle of fizzy water. Going back to Mr. Binder then, whose record is at stake with Cipollini today, trying to equal that record, and perhaps it might be a nice way to do it before you go on our break tomorrow. But Binder, and we've just been showing the number of days that a leader's jersey. Binder, in fact, he took over the leader's jersey in 1925, when there were 12 stages at the 13th edition of this race. This is the 86th, by the way, and he won the stage into Bari, from Napoli to Bari, and it was 314 kilometres. That's about the thick end of 200 miles. What's happening here? Somebody falling off again. Bottles are flying everywhere. Yep. Oh, this is going back to the crash from the next rider. Still don't know what happened. Going back to Mr. Binder, whose record Cipollini is trying to get at the moment. He took over the leader's jersey in the Tour of Italy the day before, when he went from Rome to Napoli, a mere 260 kilometres. On that occasion, he was second in the crossing the line, but he took over the jersey and he kept it all the way through to the end. But he only got one stage victory on that particular occasion. But then the following year, 1926, although he ran out victor of the overall race at the end of it all, winning by some 4 minutes and 54 seconds, by the next year, 1926, he didn't feature in the, well, he got stage victories, he didn't get the overall victory, but he began to amass his individual victories. On that particular occasion, that's when he really started to get himself listed as the man to be feared in stage finishes. And in fact, he was just rolling across the line and catching them all napping, because he won of the 12 stages on that particular occasion. He got himself, what was it, 6 stages on that, no, 5 stages, 6 stages he won in 1926. And he continued on that, because in 1927, as we're looking now at I hope of Cipollini getting a stage victory here with 20 kilometres to go. Cipollini has won, I think the most he's won is 6 stages in a Tour of Italy. But just imagine, in 1927, Alfredo Binder won 12 stages of the 15 stages. 12 of the 15 stages, he won those. He started out by winning 3 on the trot. He didn't get stage 4 because Piemontesi got that one, and he didn't get to stage 11. Rescani got that one, and he didn't get to stage 13 into Trieste when Brunello Giovanni got that one too. So Brunello got that. So he only missed out on 3 stages of the 15. He won 12 stages. He took the leader's jersey on day 1, did Alfredo Binder, and he kept it all the way through, right the way from the first stage, right the way to the end of the 3,758 kilometres, which they did in just 15 stages. And he won that race, and he won it, in fact, by a massive 27 minutes and 24 seconds. So just shows you what Cipollini, when he said that that Binder was a grand champion, and certainly Cipollini's knocked up the scores, but he wasn't doing what Binder did. Binder in 1928 went on again, took the leader's jersey on stage 4, kept it right the way through the finish of that one. He changed teams, by the way. He was riding with the Wolfitz team rather than the Legnano team, but again he was knocking the victories up left, right and centre. So can he break that record, or can he equal it today? There's the main field trotting along here. Cipollini looking to equal that record of Alfredo Brindo. He's got 40 victories so far, and the teams on the front here, you can see the blue and the white jerseys of the Fassa Bertolo team. They're the stripy jerseys of Cipollini's team. And as ever, you're going to get the likely lads here trying to nip off down the row. Still our two breakaway riders hanging on for grim death. They've been out for an awful long time now. Had the audacity to go on the descent of that climb of the Porta Mandarazzi. And when they went over the top of the second category climb, Gonzalez in that green jersey got the points to keep it through until the end. So now looking back here, there's a bit of a thrush coming on to try and join up there, but you can see the sort of group of riders here are not too bothered about the Johnny come lately. He's nipping off down there, and certainly Pataki wants to stay in the pink jersey as we go into the rest day tomorrow, and Cipollini would like to get a stage victory, which he hasn't got so far. Binder is the man whose record he's got to beat, and a man like Binder, say, going back to 1927, winning 12 of the 15 stages, and that year taking the pink jersey as the leader, taking it all the way through to the end of the race. He did a similar thing in 1929, when after the fourth stage he took the leader's jersey and kept it all the way through again, knocking off, what, 2, 4, 6, 8 victories then. And Binder was still in full flight then in 1929, but 1930 was the first time that the race you see now heading in towards Catania, that we actually finished in Catania. On that occasion it was a man called Michel Mara who won the stage, riding for the Bianchi team, of which more anon, still trying to sort out the mess with Coast, and Ulrich saying he's going to jump ship and everything that's going on at the moment. As now we see that Gonzalez Gutierrez now been joined by Pietropoli. Just shows it's not far down the road there, so they could come back. And in 1930, that was the time when in the end Mr. Binder was not in their winning stage. He wasn't on that particular race that time. He didn't come back until 1931. That's a significant date, by the way, says he, for personal reasons. And in 1930 then, Messina to Catania, which is the reverse of what we're going to do now. We're coming down from sorry, it's what we're doing now, Messina to Catania, exactly the same, slightly a different route we're taking, and that was Michel that Mara got that victory on that particular day on that stage, and the next day it went to Catania to Palermo. And I've been reading, those you've been listening to the programme all the way through, and you need a medalman, not much going on. That book on the Giro d'Italia from Adino Buzzati, written on the 1949 Tour of Italy, we went the reverse way, or they went the reverse way on that occasion, because they came in from Palermo to Catania, and now we're virtually following a similar route now from Messina to Catania, but we're not going to Palermo tomorrow. It's all systems go, day off, move back up into the shin of Italy. So that's the situation then. The first time in Catania, the stage won by Mara, who went on to win the final stage in Milan of the 1930 Tour of Italy. Mara taking the final victory on that occasion, but the overall victory that year went to Luigi Mattioso from the Legnano team. Bit of history there for you, and hope you don't mind me, you people who are not that deep into cycling facts and figures, because I know a number of people here. We do get a tremendous number of people. Whoops, excuse us. This is Pantani's lot coming through now. That's intriguing. We get a lot of cyclists who watch our coverage on Eurosport, and they pick up bits, facts and figures here and there, and I try and put the bit in there for the cyclist experts from the information that we have about the racing in the past, apart from mixing up with the food, the wine, the territory, how hot and cold it is, and how's the price of fish in Grimsby and things like that, because there's a vast interest in cycling. Thank you for joining us here on Eurosport, and I think it's possible that we might finish a reasonable amount on time. 16 kilometres to go, running on to 4:30 Central European time. Well, that's 3:30 in Great Britain, isn't it? Coming through them, so we, I think, due to be off air in about another 12 or 15 minutes. We will be a bit behind schedule, but they really have got a gallop on running in towards the finish now. So the tennis, I think, is next up on our list, all the way from Rome. So here we are, bringing you lots of activity from Italy. And who's going to get the stage today? Well, whole of Italy will be holding its breath, because Eurosport transmitting over 17 different nations right the way across the whole of Europe, also into Italy, where the terrestrial station is also covering the stage today. And everybody's saying, can Cipollini get the stage today? And not the time, I think, to delve into the books, because watching the activity I begin to form, because it is a kiss of death to some riders to have the jersey as the king, the king himself, as the world champion. And Mr. Cipollini has had more than his fair share of problems this year, and can he win today? Well, running in towards the finish, there's a bit of it. They're on the little sort of gradual rise now, and then we're going over the top of this one, and it's pretty well all downhill now, running in towards the finish. So there's no great threat for this thing to blow apart, it seems. They're actually on the way down, and this little breakaway group in front still hanging on for grim death. If we run in towards Catania today, then I think this sprint might suit Cipollini, because he's been a bit miffed on the last couple of days when there's been a bit of a drag either up to the finish or not far from the finish, which has sapped his strength, because he's quite a big lad, and he found it difficult to get up those climbs. Well, they're going to get sucked in, these three riders, with 11 seconds, but as we come in, those last 5 kilometres, virtually flat as the pizza, well, as a pancake, and so a very straight, very flat run in, and they're going to come alongside, right alongside the sea. Very nice run in towards the finish, and they're coming in then toward the Via Italia of the Alagona, and as they go in through there and in towards the finish, it twists and turns a little bit, but it's not that bad. So I think we should see what I might call a clean sprint finish today. The twists and turns are not nasty little hairpin things. They should be able to stay upright and come through there, but certainly it's flat, and that's going to suit Cipollini, who's surely by now, he must have, I suppose, lost some of those pounds. I think he looked a bit too chunky to start the race. So what I'll try and do now for you, if you just switched on and you're going to watch the tennis, is to pick up what's happening there and who they are, and perhaps you'll stay with me. As there is the rainbow jersey world champion. The red, white and blue jersey just behind him is none other than Julian Wynne from Wales. This is great, isn't it? I'm sure Abergavenny is holding its breath at the moment, and perhaps they're watching it on Eurosport, and to you in Abergavenny, hope that is nice and fine there, because he's enjoying the sunshine, is Julian Wynne, and hope during the quiet day we have tomorrow, it's very difficult to catch up with riders and everybody all over the place, but I'm hoping to have a chat with Julian tomorrow and to get his feedbacks and feelings on the race so far. But it's nice to see him in there in the jersey as the British champion, riding behind the great Cipollini, and he's been doing a sterling job as Julian for the Factor Peta team. And they yesterday were the team on points. They're mainly sort of reddish coloured jerseys, and their best placed man overall on the general classification is Alverson. I don't think we'll see a change much on the general classification today, because going into the finish there are 20 seconds bonus for first, 20, 12 and 8 for the top three in that order. But Pataki has 29 seconds lead. Sorry, yes, Pataki has 29 seconds lead on Garzelli, and 39 seconds on Casagrande. So Pataki, even if he doesn't win today or doesn't get in top three, he will still keep the leader's jersey, but I'm sure he would like to do what he did yesterday. When he finished second yesterday, I think he'd like to try and win. But this is a stage where Robin McEwen said he's got his eye on this one too as well. And they're starting to wind it up too, and Mr. Cipollini, who's been in the dumps, he's only had a second place so far. And that was what on the first stage, when Pataki beat Cipollini on stage one. Furlan was into third spot. By the time we went to stage two, Baldato got that one, ahead of Colombo and Figuero's back there, and that was the day when Robin McKeown was put at the back of the pack because he was said to have shoved Mr. Baldato into the barriers. By the time we went on to stage 3, Garcelli got that one. It was an uphill finish by them. Casagrande was second. Pataki managed to hang on to get the third spot, kept his jersey overall. And then yesterday we had the stage when Robin McKeown got ahead of Pataki, and Bernard Eisel from the F de Jure team, that's Bradley Wiggins' team, popped up into third spot. Interesting, on that day Lambardi was fourth because Cipollini got shelled out and couldn't on the run in toward the finish. They went on some pretty conky stuff, not like today. There is Cipollini in that rainbow jersey. He just said to his teammates, get on with it. So Lambardi was fourth and Backstead back into fifth spot. Oh, this is Mr. Sacchi, I think, at the moment. Yes, he is. Whoa. How do I recognise that? By his bicycle. And very famous bit of colouring he's had on his bicycle then. And so Sacchi then for the Psycho team, joining in the thrash to keep this thing together. And Mr. Wynn's mixed up with it too. The Factor team at the back here. It's all right for you, Scott Sunderland. Come on, and your lad's bad. It's Julian Wynn's up. Yes, he's up there. I know he's down there. I've just seen him. What are you doing swelling around at the back, eh? It's all right, isn't it? Oh, dear me. Gosh, come on, chaps. Get stuck in there. There's old Julian. He's on the front, trying to pull everything back then. Make sure that Halverson finishes up there, keeps his 15th place. Mr. Backstead too. Well, I know he got a good place yesterday. Perhaps it's Julian's chance to have a go at it now. Halverson was 13th yesterday. Of course, every time they finish, they get nice little points in the points competition, and there's a few, I was going to say lira, because thank goodness, but in some respects it's now in euros, because the lira, there were so many noughts on the end of the awards each day that it nearly ran off the end of the paper. Right, back then to the back end of the pack, where the Factor team seemed to have decided that it's up to Julian Wynn today. It's a team for Denmark, by the way, if you haven't caught up with them. It's a supermarket group. It's their first year up in the elite first division. Now you can see how quick they're going. By the way, that's a little profile. See that little thing on there? All the riders have that as well. It's done each day. The riders get it and stick it in their back pocket so they can see the profile. And on the handlebars, very often on the handlebar stem, you'll find mechanics there will be sticking on the distances, and then on the computers which are on the handlebars, they'll be able to look down and they'll be able to know them the distance they've got, how far they've been going, how far it is to the finish, and particularly if there's any climbs coming up exactly where they are, because you can't remember every detail of every race, so they stick them on. But of course you imagine bouncing up and down on the handlebars in front, it's not that easy to define exactly what's going on, so they keep in their back pocket that particular thing you saw there on the motorcycle. They stick it in their back pocket. They can take it out when they're riding along. We saw Cipollini a bit further back doing just that, looking at it and seeing how far he got to go. He'll go through a village, say, oh, that's where we are, look at his little computer, knows exactly where he is, fine, everything okay, and then you can look at the profile and think, well, we've done those kilometres, now it's flat, and as it is now. This is the bit where the sprinter teams will start to go. The one chap we haven't seen doing very much so far, by the way, is young Graham Brown, the double Commonwealth Games champion, who frightened the pants off Cipollini last year on the first road stage, finishing second behind him. So watch out for the orange jersey. I think Canaria might be wanting to say, let's get in the act and start to stir things up. There are beautiful shots again of Sicily. Just can't see anybody on the front really start to wind this up. There's no determined. They're all together. If you look down there, normally by now you'd have got one team on the front winding it all up and sorting things out. It doesn't seem to be happening. Mishmash. Look at this. We've got Lotto Domo, then we've got F de Jure, France de Jure, beginning to work on the front. But no sort of one team dominating it. Three of the F de Jour start to come through at the front, and well, there Eisel got a good finish yesterday when he finished. Bernard Eisel finished into third spot. Their specialist sprinter, which they brought with them, hasn't sort of been going like stink at the moment, but that's Jimmy Casper. But have they gone too soon? Look on the other side, another team starting to come through. That's Bradley Wiggins' team, by the way, on the front at the moment. Trying to pick out if he's in that little group, because we don't get all the rundowns on the numbers when the bunch is this big. We've got to pick them out ourselves. And as they all look so much the same with their crash outs on and what have you, he's a long, tall, gangling lad is Bradley Wiggins, ex-pursuit champion as a junior at world level, and now in there looking and peeling back. He's very quick, and this is his sort of territory, but they seem to have lost a bit of the zip at the moment. Bradley's riding number 79 if you're looking down in the centre there. And they named him the Kangaroo yesterday in Gazette dello Sport because he leapt up. He made more advance than anybody else on the classification, from something like 160th to 122nd, because his father was from Australia anyway, so I suppose it's an appropriate thing to say. There you go. Yes, there's Bradley just moving through. He's on the front now. In fact, he's just been slightly pushed out of the way as the change at the front is coming, and Bradley's now gone back just a bit off the pace. And this is education for him, by the way, to be riding in the Tour of Italy like this. He's had a cracking year so far, riding all the big single-day races, and that good ride he did in the Pyrenees too as well, and that superb ride in the time trial on that particular occasion. So a lot more of this lad yet to come, I'm sure, but he's learning then, and right now he and his team, he's been pushed back a bit then. Let's see what's going to happen. Now, here they come. I thought there was a lack of fire in that sort of leading group here, and guess who's come up now? Yes, it's the team from and also McEwen's slotting himself in too as well, looking over his shoulder now. He realised that suddenly the heavy gangs come along, and this is where it's all starting to happen before our very eyes, because the team of Cipollini, the Domina Vacanze Elitron team, who've been allowed a certain freedom to go off down the road and do their own thing, because Cipollini has been stuffed on the climbs. Now it's a flattish day. It's been exactly a sort of day, so obviously the word's gone out then that Mario wants to equal Binder's record today before they leave Sicily, and the Mafia now are patting aside their nose and saying, come on, we want some results here. And going back then to the team factor again, having a bit of a go here. Scott Sunderland winding them up. They're little devils, aren't they? The Italians won't say, wait, what are you doing here? Because this is our party, get off. But no, the Danish sponsored team, so Scott Sunderland from Australia, starts to wind it up now. Interesting group of riders, the team factor. They've got them from Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Australia, Austria and Great Britain. And now the Italians are starting to move for the Domenica Vacanze team. They're all Italians, by the way. Whoops, this is the problems. I said it wasn't too tricky, but he did swing round and somebody's touched the wheel, and we've got a number of guys on the deck. Let's see if anybody particular has gone down that matters. Well, I don't mean disrespectful, but any of the sprinters down there? No, no, no. The usual mayhem. This is where the mechanics earn their corn until they come leaping out of the cars with the wheels. And Di Bassi, that's unfortunate, because Di Bassi quite a useful quick sprinter, and was looking earlier on. In fact, I think he got third in the Giro. Now, is that Furlan back there? Hang on, now that could be important then for the Alessio team, because one of the Alessio riders come down there. Baldato already had a stage success. Carcioli's aiming for top honours too. Furlan the other day finished up in the top 3 too as well. So Alessio just lost one of their riders. I didn't quite see who it was. So that would have blunted their efforts to get a victory today for Baldato. Sorry about the delay, those who are watching our live coverage for the tennis from Rome. As Chris and Sam will be sitting with bated breath for coming on with the tennis. Do stay with us for that, you tennis fans. We won't be too long, by the way, because I think it's about inside 5Ks. I'll try and give you a sort of rundown of the time. It's not long anyway. And if you're just a tennis fan, just watch this pushing and shoving, because we're on here on stage 5 of the Tour of Italy. We're going on an awful long way. It runs for 3 weeks, by the way, and 2 kilometres to go. So that's around about a minute and 20 seconds of riding. Sorry, 2 minutes 20 seconds of riding, plus the presentation and things and the mess at the end of it. So about 5 minutes we should be able to get out, and you can be out there watching, I presume, what's going to be glorious weather out in Rome. Here we go then. As glorious weather in Sicily. The conditions are warm. The temperature 27 degrees. The race is hotting up now. Cipollini, the world champion, is in that white jersey with rainbow bands round about it. He's trying to equal a record success in the Tour of Italy. 41 is the number that Binder achieved all those years ago. Well, up straight away. Oh, my goodness. No, that's bad luck there. He's now decided to go and take a rest. The wrong time to do it. Here we go then. Well, the run into here, this last kilometre, this is certainly, I think, going to suit Mr. Cipollini, but who's with him? Where's Pataki at the moment in the pink jersey? But still, again, enough of the riders from the Cipollini's team and the Stripers, and Cipollini's gone onto Pataki's wheel and moving in there right behind one of the riders from the France de Jure in there at the moment. I think Eisel again has moved in there, looking good at the moment. Can he repeat what he did yesterday and finish up in the top 3? He's gone behind Cipollini. The little rider from the F de Jure team is looking good at the moment, because Lombard is leading out at the moment. Lombard is going hammer for tongue, but he's got right behind Pataki, and on the wheel of the pink jersey Pataki is Cipollini in the rainbow jersey as the world champion. Behind him is Eisel from the France de Jure team. Where is a little diddy fellow? Yes, he's right behind there too. As McEwen, who got yesterday's stage, is now setting himself behind Eisel, but has he left it too late? As Pataki starts to go, but Cipollini starts to come off his wheel. Cipollini wants this success today, and he crashes. I don't look, he's made it. I think Pataki might have got that one. Oh, sackcloth and ashes, and Pataki's beaten him again. Cipollini is like to chuck his bike in the sea. Beaten again by Pataki. That's exactly what happened on day 1 when Cipollini was going to set up to equal Binder's record. It didn't happen on day 1. Since then we've had some climbs towards the end, which meant that Cipollini hadn't got the fire in his legs, and he came in today to get it, and he didn't make it. Oh my goodness. All those celebrations over the winter where the sponsors and everyone wants to press your hand and take you to a function must have delayed perhaps his training, but no doubt about it, Cipollini was smarty under this. He won't give up though without a fight. As his teammates here, Lombardi winds it up, Pataki in the pink jersey, in the slipstream, and Cipollini looks so cool. Look at that, in the rainbow jersey. Eisel just, here they go. This is where Cipollini normally would just come off the wheel. This is what he did in the World Championship. Pataki was one of the lead-out men, which got Cipollini in the rainbow jersey. It was sold the last October, but as he comes through here, he just can't quite make it. Oh, it was close, wasn't it? The last little turn the pedal, it depends where you wear, well, your feet wear, when he just went there. That was so close. Oof. Just couldn't quite get that final. This is what the sprinters have. They come through, look at this. They're going at something like 40 miles an hour, and when you get there, when you thrust the bike forward, you just put that bit of pressure on. The pedal has to be in the right place as you throw the bike. Watch this, watch. Out the saddle, and here we go, and the thrust will come. There! And the thrust from Pataki was better than the thrust from Cipollini, and that was it. So Pataki, yet another stage victory here, and what an amazing performance for this young rider. He certainly now is going to get everybody talking, and so is he going to be the new Cipollini over the years? Mr. Castellani here with the glasses, the organiser of the Tour of Italy, is going up to the rostrum. I'm not quite sure if he can make it, but there's no doubt about it, we go into the rest day. Not much of a rest day, by the way, because the whole entourage you're seeing here have got to go over, back up to Messina, over on the ferries, and then all the way back up up the country for the stage the day after tomorrow. But as far as Pataki is concerned, he'll be flying out with the rest of the riders, and special VIPs will be in their airplanes, 2 of the airplanes taking them off back up to the stage the day after tomorrow. And I suspect he might even be given a first-class seat at the front. No doubt off the pace, finishing back. He never really got out. You see, McEwen was in there trying to have a go, but he was well sheltered. But after yesterday, he didn't seem to have anything quite left in his legs. As you can see, written all over the faces riders here, all hell let loose. But in the end, it was the reigning champion, Kentucky, the pink, that got the jersey and the stage. Further on down, you can see the rest of the riders. Even Baxter didn't do too badly either at all.